herself. She knows that she has to get used to the customs and traditions of her new country in order to feel more at home. Billy enrolled in language classes and actively participates in community events to immerse herself in the local culture. Slowly but surely, she has started to get used to and understand her surroundings better. With time, Billy has begun to make friends who have helped her navigate through the challenges she normally faces. It hasn't been an easy journey, but Billy's determination and willingness to get used to her new country are paying off. She is slowly finding her place and becoming an integral part of the community.
Okay, well, Camila and Jennifer are already here. So, guys, I'm telling you, we're watching a video in which this little monster is talking about Billy, which is a woman, and she's having problems to get used to the new country, to the new culture, right? Voy en camino para casa. Listo, Camilo, no te preocupes, don't worry. So, but in this case, the idea is that we are going to pay attention to the expression used. Okay, so we're going to watch it again so you can rewatch the video and understand better the information. Okay, so let's check it out.
Billy is a young woman who decided to move to a new country in search of better opportunities. However, she soon realized that adapting to the new environment was not as easy as she had anticipated. Billy is not used to the language, the culture, or the way of life in her new home yet. She is struggling to communicate with the locals, and she often feels isolated and lonely. Every day, she faces challenges that she was not used to. Despite the difficulties, Billy is determined to make a new life for herself. She knows that she has to get used to the customs and traditions of her new country in order to feel more at home. Billy enrolled in language classes and actively participates in community events to immerse herself in the local culture. Slowly but surely, she has started to get used to and understand her surroundings better. With time, Billy has begun to make friends who have helped her navigate through the challenges she normally faces. It hasn't been an easy journey, but Billy's determination and willingness to get used to her new country are paying off. She is slowly finding her place and becoming an integral part of the community.
Okay, very good. So, Jennifer también está llegando a la casa. Listo. Me avisan cuando lleguen a la casa para saber que ya les puedo preguntar, ¿vale? Me avisan. Ready? Bueno, Nico, so in that case, what did you see about this little monster and the woman that she is describing? What are the problems that she is having?
And maybe the problem is like the behavior of the customs around a situation or the community, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, totally true. Exactly. So the problem is that Billy, which is the woman in in charge, or like the woman that it's being described, she decided to move to another country, right? So in search of new, better opportunities. But she's having problems to get used to the language. Then she says that Billy is not used to, and then she says that is not used to the language, the communication, and the culture itself. Ready? So she says that Billy is not used to the language, the culture, and the way of life, right? When they say that somebody is not used to, what do you think that it means?
The expression that is when you express something that you don't usually do or in the past.
Exactly. Well, in this case, not so much in the past because look that here it's is not used to. Normally we use used to for talking about what the things that were used before. And look at Jennifer said in the chat, no está acostumbrada. Exactly. So in this case, the expression is not used to is that she doesn't have the custom to that, right? So in this case, she is not accustomed to do something. In this case, is not accustomed to the language, to the culture, or to the way of life, right? But further in the video, they say that, okay, she's having problems, ta, 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 she's feeling isolated, como aislada, ¿cierto? She's feeling isolated, and she's having difficulties with her life. But in this case, she says that she's determined to make herself fit, como hacerse encajar, right? And then they say that she has to get used to. She has to get used to the customs, right? Entonces, here when I say that it's not used to, it's like que no está acostumbrada. But what is the meaning of the expression get used to?
Maybe something similar like the behavior, something related with he don't want or he usually or frequently used to do something.
Exactly. Well, in this case, as look at the chat, Camilo says acostumbrarse a algo. Yes, very good. So it's a similar expression, but it's not exactly the same. We're going to have two different possibilities, a part of used to, that it's normal, the normal used to, right? But we're going to have the possibility to use be used to, and get used to. As similar as they seem, they look very similar, they are not so similar. Because in this case, when I use be used to, it's that the person is already used to that action. It's already accustomed to that action. But when I say get used to, actually it is the action of becoming used to that, right? So, for example, here we have, oh, wait, I didn't open that file. Un segundo, wait, right here. Okay, okay, it's right here. Quick, quick. Got it. So be used to is an expression that describes when the person it's already accustomed to the action. It's normal already the action for the person. For example, my family and me are used to have dinner all together at 7 o'clock. We already have that custom. This is already typical for us, so we are used to. Or, for example, the neighbor from the apartment 405 is used to listen music very loudly on Sunday mornings. Is used to. So it's already a person who has the custom to do that, right? So it can be used in any tense. Present, past, present perfect. For example, here they said 10 years ago, I was used to wake up, ta 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 ta. That's it, right? But in this case, it's different from the get used to because in this case, the action, it's already part of my habits. But when I use get used to, it's not so much like that. When I use get used to, yeah, it's the expression or it expresses the action of becoming accustomed to that action, right? So as Jennifer said, be used to is estar acostumbrado o estaba acostumbrado o estar acostumbrado a algo. Y get used to es la acción de acostumbrarse, ¿ready? Acostumbrarse a algo. So in that case, this is also possible to use it in any tense. For example, my couple and me are getting used to my new schedule. We still have some problems from time to time. We are getting used to, right? Or for example, Billy can get used to new series so easy, she hates them at first. Entonces, the get used to expression can be worked in any other tense. Present simple, present continuous, simple past, any tense, right? Just looking the difference that get used to is acostumbrarse and be used to is estar acostumbrado a algo. Got it? Kind of, más o menos, more or less?
More or less, yes.
More or less. So, for example, wait a second. Nico, what is your favorite kind of music?
Kind of music, I don't know. I can say rock or metal in general.
Okay, very good. And when do you normally listen to music? On the job? Um,
Yes, when I was working or when I would train in the gym.
Mhm. And especially when you are training in the gym, Nico, what kind of music do you listen? Metal or more other different genders?
Uh, Different, that depends my mood, but just metal or house or techno music for more
Okay.
inspiration.
Very good, very good. So in that case, let's say that you have the habit to listen metal. Imagine only metal, right? So you said that I am used to listen, wait, sorry, to listen to metal when I train, right? That is already part of your habits. It's like, sí, estoy acostumbrado, I am used to, right? But when I use get used to, it's different from that. It's the action of becoming that, right? For example, I got used to listen music while working when no sé, when I worked in my last job, for example. So in that case, it's not something that is part of your things now, but it's the action of becoming get used to that. So, entonces es que es como, sí, estoy acostumbrado a that. But in that case, ok, me acostumbré. I got used to listening music. Claro que, sorry. Estas dos expresiones que son un poquito diferentes a las demás, used to, usan ing después. Entonces usamos I am used to listening y I got used to listening music while working when I worked in my last job, right? Estas son excepciones porque normalmente después de un to el verbo viene en infinitivo. Pero en estas expresiones son excepciones, por lo tanto el verbo iría normalmente en gerundio, ¿ready? So I am used to listening to metal when I train o I got used to listening music while I was working, ta, ta, ta. O sea, ¿a qué estás acostumbrado y o sea, te acostumbraste a esto cuando, ta, 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 right? Entonces ahí hay
Mm.
una diferencia entre acostumbrarse a y estar acostumbrado a. ¿Listo? ¿Ready?
Okay.
Ok. Entonces, questions, difficulties hasta ahí. Dudas, anything. ¿No? Bien.
It's clear,
Listo.
teacher.
Muy bien, no problem. Very good. Now, as I said before, these tenses can be worked in any tense. Present continuous, simple past, whatever, right? So, guys, bueno, los que van en el Transmi creo que también les aparece aquí a mano izquierda, abajito, les aparece un lapicito. Si ustedes le dan ahí, les van a aparecer varias opciones. Escojan la T de texto y escríbanme aquí en la pantalla. What were you used to as a child? Right? Si quieren escribirlo ahí, o pueden escribirlo con el dedito, pero pues es un poquito más difícil. Pueden seleccionar la T de texto y lo escriben con el teclado. Right? So, for example, in my case, guys, in my case, I was used to, when I was a child, when I was a child, I was used to being alone at home because my brother was older and my mother was working all the time. So I was used to being alone at home almost all the time. Casi, sí, almost, almost. Wait, sorry. Wait. Bueno, I was working. Yes, Jennifer?
A mí solo me aparece un lapicito para escribir, pero el de texto no me sale por ningún lado.
Si quieres, trata de hacerlo con el lapicito o si quieres escribir en el texto,
No sé, pues si se
en el chat también puede ser.
me chat.
Sí, también puede
Ah,
ser
ok,
para que
ya.
te quede más fácil.
Sí, porque creo que si lo hago así como
No,
muy grande.
no te preocupes, don't worry. Listen, just tell me, what were you used to as a child? Ready, guys? Do you have it? What were you used to as a child? I got used to playing video games with my brother on the PC. Okay, good. But
Pero si era el día, yo fue guay.
pues
Tengo que confundirlo.
ambas están bien, Jen, pero hay una diferencia en cuanto al sentido. Cuando dices I got used to playing video games, es que me acostumbré a jugar videojuegos. Si tú dices I was used to, es estaba acostumbrada a jugar videojuegos. Pues ambas pueden ser posibles, ¿right?
Para ellos son posibles. Sí, porque hay dos youtubers de la mujer que es algo.
Sí,
¿Cuál era
exacto.
la diferencia?
Right, right, right. Yes. Entonces, yes, la diferencia es que cuando usas I got used to es simplemente la acción que te acostumbraste,
Bien.
pero con el verb to be es estaba acostumbrado, pero en este caso, pues ambas funcionan bien, ready? No problem. Ujú. ¿Qué otra, guys? Nico, Cami, yes?
For example, when I was a child, I was used to take a bus alone for go to the school,
For going.
going to school.
Es después del for siempre viene el verbo en ing. Muy bien. Entonces, for going to school, very good. That you were used to take a bus alone. Muy bien, that's good. And Camilo, what about you, my friend? No, I think he has problems with connection. But anyway, so guys, in that case, these expressions they used to, it's very flexible expression because it can help me to describe those things. Ready? So things like estar acostumbrado o acostumbrarse a. That's it, right? But now, in this case, we also have other topics to work. Now, the idea of this class is working on a famous life, which is like the life of the famous people, no? Well, in this case, we have a lot of different people. Like all of them are singers, and most of them are rock and roll gender. Yes, and well, the idea was you to tell me like what is your favorite kind of music. Nicholas already told me like metal or rock. Jennifer, what about you? What is your favorite kind of music?
Teacher, my favorite kind of music is English pop and K-pop.
Okay, English pop and K-pop. Muy bien, very good. So, and well, Camilo says, teacher, when I was a child, I was used to collecting prints and albums. Good. Excellent. So, in this case, we're working with music because we are going to make a comparisons of how were the musicians now, before and how are they now. When we also want to describe things in past, the habits of the past, as Nicolas said at the beginning, we use the expression used to, pero solo used to, no be used to, ni get used to, sino solo used to. In that case, we have the verb in infinitive, and it's for saying the things that were normal before, yeah? And also, we said before that we can also use would with different verbs for saying like yo iba tantas veces a la semana, yo tenía tal hábito en tal momento, right? For example, like, okay, I would train soccer after school on Mondays, right? When I introduce that would with a past expression, I understand that this was a past habit. It's exactly the same as saying I used to train soccer after school on Mondays, right? It's just a different way, but it's exactly the same of saying that. So would plus a verb or an expression in past after school on Mondays, it gives me the idea that I had that habit in that moment, right? Well, for example, I would collect prints and albums, you know, like prints or stamps, como láminas, right? Prints, stamps, and albums. Muy bien. Yes, we are the generation of the albums now. So he can do it using would. And it's another possibility to describe habits in the past. And of course, the typical that it's used to. I used to collect prints and stamps and albums, right? That's it, right? So it's the other possibility. So be careful because we're going to have three different kinds of used to. We have the expression used to, solo used to, plus a verb in infinitive, which is solía, habits in the past. Habits in past. ¿Cierto? Now also we have the expression be used to, which is different. Be used to, in this case, the verb is not in infinitive, but it's a verb in gerund with ing, right? And that it's not for habits in the past, it's for habits, but it can be in any tense, habits, present, past, future, any tense. And also we have the expression get used to. Get used to, where the verb is also in gerund, and it's talking about the process of becoming a habit. Becoming a habit. Right? So yes, used to has different forms, but it has also different purposes. So be careful with that because it can be sometimes a little bit confusing. Okay, ready? Now, but in general terms, using used to, it's the same as using would plus an expression in the past. So, for example, guys, before the rock stars, like Kurt Cobain and some of them, right? They had different costumes. For example, before the rock stars they used to consume drugs. It was very normal that before they used to consume a lot of drugs. What other characteristics did they have before? The rock stars before, like in the 90s, in the 2000s.
Mm, they used to, I don't know, do crazy things or talking about controversial things.
Yes, they would always talk about controversial topics. Muy bien. Controversial topics. Muy bien, very good. And notice that in this case I said I would always, perdón, I know, they would always talk about controversial topics, like siempre hablaban, right? So como un hábito en el pasado. They would always talk about controversial topics, right? They used to do crazy things. ¿Qué más? What other characteristics did they have? Mr. Camilo, Mrs. Jennifer, what do you think?
Dices, ¿cómo te características?
Pues digamos, Camilo pregunta si son características de la imagen, también porque tenían como una imagen muy, muy específica, ¿no? Que los aretes, que los tatuajes, que el cabello largo en su mayoría, que un estilo muy característico. Pero también, por ejemplo, Nicolás hablaba de características de cosas que hacían muy típicas, ¿no? Entonces que solían ser muy controversiales, solían hablar de cosas, de hacer cosas muy loquitas, que solían consumir drogas, ¿cierto? Entonces, ¿qué más? What other things do they do? Did they do? Sorry.
They would, uh,
Dale, Jennifer, y luego Nicolás.
okay.
He used to play violin.
They used to sing what? Sorry, they used to sing.
No, playing a violin.
Ah, bueno, ok, good. En ese caso, yo quería como denotar que solían ser muy talentosos, right? So they used to be
Ah,
como very talented. They used to know how to play the saxophone, the violin, the guitar. It was very common. Nowadays, the musicians, not so much. Some of them, of course, but not all of them, ¿no? Before it was more typical, right? Camilo, ¿qué dices sobre las características físicas? How did they used to be? We can look at them here, and they have kind of similar styles, no? Nicholas, what was your example, my friend?
Yes, in my case, they used to wear different clothes and create the trends of the age.
Of the age, very good. Yes, exactly. They used to wear different like clothes, like for example, black clothes or wool sweaters, como sacos de lana, or different kinds of clothes, and they used to create the trends of that time, right? Perfectly. Yes, they were the idols, the star in that moment. It's exactly what happens today. Nowadays, it's not the rock stars, but the reggaeton stars who pay the style. But that's it. It's exactly the same. Muy bien. Very good. Hmm? Sorry. So in that case, guys, we can use these expressions used to or would for describing habits in the past and using the verb in infinitive. So they used to consume, they would always talk, they used to be, they used to do, always with the verb in infinitive, right? Very simple. But if we want to talk about those habits, but in the present, then we're going to have other two possibilities, right? Normally we can do it using the expression used to, pero no en pasado, sino use, just like this, used to, which is habits, but of course habits in present. When I say, for example, I used to go to play soccer on Saturdays. It's a habit, but in the present. So I can use it used to, the same one, but in present, of course. But the other possibility is that I can use will. It's like the same option as would, but for the present. Yeah. So for example, nowadays the kids, yeah. So I would say that kids will always be chatting. Notice that I accompany will with expressions like, for example, always, every day, all the time, to mark that it's a habit that is not an action in the future. It's a habit for the present. So kids will always be chatting all the time. Or, for example, I don't know, in Colombia, politicians always will always be criminals, right? It's a habit, it's something typical for us. So they will always be criminals. Remember that will, it's kind of a modal verb. So what we do in this case is using also the verb in infinitive. Will be, will have, will exercise, right? For example, teenagers, bueno, young people in general, not only teenagers, but young people will exercise or will try to exercise at least, will try to exercise every day. Yeah, so in that case, the use of will, it's not for future. It can describe a habit that the people have in present. Okay, ready? What do you think about this image? What would be the habit that is described in this image?
Maybe the workers will sometimes take or drink beers.
Muy bien, pero no puede ser certain times porque entonces no sería un hábito, ¿ready? So in that case, workers will grab a beer. Grab a beer es como, yes, salir por una cerveza, right? Grab a beer. What is the day that it's more common that they drink?
Friday.
Friday, because it's the
Friday
last day of the
or
week.
Saturday.
Yes.
Jennifer, sorry?
Friday or Saturday.
Friday or Saturday, depending, but mostly Fridays because some people don't work on Saturday. No, so workers will grab a beer every Friday. It means that they do this action in this period of time every Friday. Yeah. So expression more like all the time, always, every day, every Friday, every week, usually, right? They can help me to describe the habits in the present. Now we were talking about musicians, no? And then we said that before. For example, Camilo said in the chat, they used to be so crazy when they were singing. Good. They used to do crazy things. They used to talk about polemical stuff. They used to have a particular style, ¿cierto? Before. Now, what is the costumes of the singers right now or the musicians right now? What are the things that they do normally in this moment of life? They don't drink so much anymore. It's not so common that they consume drugs. They are more conscious now. So, what are the habits that they have now?
The
Teacher,
same but
maybe
different.
Nico?
Not the same but different.
The same but different. Okay. Jennifer, what do you think?
teacher, maybe I will everything.
Could you repeat, please? Could you repeat? Jennifer, could you repeat, please? I'm sorry. I'm losing you. No, I think we lost it. Changos. Well, anyway. So, guys, in this case, for example, something that they do every day is post on social media. That is very common that they do nowadays that they didn't used to do it before because before there was not social media, no? So in that case, I can say, for example, that celebrities, not only the singers, but celebrities in general, celebrities will post uh, in social media or on social media all the time, ¿cierto? All the time. That is a very typical custom nowadays. Or, for example, celebrities will have a lot of followers, or will have a lot of followers, or will always have a lot of followers in these times, right? So the idea is that when we use will here, it can help us to describe those habits in present, okay? Por aquí escribieron algo en el chat. Sorry, teacher, I will every night read a book. Okay, bueno, that's a habit of your own, ¿cierto? Eso es un hábito que tú tienes. So I will every night read a book. That's also a good idea. Ready? Muy bien. Very good. Right? Entonces, guys, questions about con will o yo podemos expresar esto con used to. Entonces, for example, no en pasado, sino en presente. Normal, we said they used to post every day. They used to post stories every day. They used to dance on TikTok every day, right? So you also possible to use used. This, guys, any question with any of these expressions for habits? Habits in the past, habits in the present, acostumbrarse a, estar acostumbrado a. Questions on that? Oh, it's fine.
Teacher is your formal.
It's, Jennifer, Camilo, ¿cómo se sienten? Good. Dime, Cami, pregunta. Sí, o sea, hábitos pueden ser tanto en el pasado como en el presente, Cami, ¿cierto? Siendo que los dos son muy parecidos. Sí, o sea, digamos que cuando uno dice hábitos, no son solamente hábitos en el pasado, por eso aquí les coloco como hábitos en el pasado con used, solo con used, ¿sí? Pero también pueden ser hábitos en el presente, mira, used, right? O hábitos en diferentes tiempos. I am used to, I will be used to, so on, so on. No sé cuándo utilizar muy bien el be. Ujú. Listo. Entonces, ¿cuándo utilizo el be? Cuando estoy diciendo que yo estoy ya acostumbrado a algo, ¿cierto? Obvio, si yo digo, por ejemplo, that en este momento I used to work on Fridays, significa que es algo que suelo hacer, ¿cierto? I used to work on Fridays. Es exactamente lo mismo que decir I am used to, estoy acostumbrado a, I am used to working on Fridays. Yes. Entonces, esta expresión de be used to, pues es básicamente lo mismo que estas dos, pero incluyendo como estoy acostumbrado a. Pero digamos que ese to be se va a conjugar en diferentes tiempos. Si es presente, pues I am used to, ¿cierto? Si es pasado, I was used to. Así como me dijiste antes, como I was used to collecting stamps and albums. Eso era en el pasado. Es exactamente lo mismo que decir I used to collect stamps and albums. ¿Listo? ¿Cuál es la diferencia? Que con estas dos expresiones, con used to solito, el verbo viene en infinitivo. Mientras que con estas dos de be used to y get used to, el verbo viene en gerundio. Más o menos, Cami, un poquito mejor. Exactly. El be es estar, pero el used to es el que es acostumbrado a. Entonces, be, estar acostumbrado a y luego la acción. Entonces, por ejemplo, estoy acostumbrado a trabajar los sábados, ¿sí? O, por ejemplo, pero acostumbrado no era el de que. Ese es acostumbrarse. Ahí se parecen, pero hay una diferencia, ¿sí? Cuando uso be used to, yo ya estoy acostumbrado. En cambio, get used to es el proceso de acostumbrarse, la acción de acostumbrarse. Entonces, por ejemplo, yo puedo decir como, "Ah, no, yo no me acostumbro a trabajar los viernes. Entonces, I don't get used to working on Fridays. Mira que es parecido, pero realmente no es la misma expresión, ¿sí? Acostumbrarse. Yo no me acostumbro a trabajar los sábados, ¿sí? Es decir, que todavía no logro el proceso de acostumbramiento, ¿right? En cambio, cuando digo, no, pues I am not used to, no, no estoy acostumbrado, that's it. Sí, lo que pasa es que, como hablábamos con Nico al principio, también puede ser un ejemplo con be used to, porque, por ejemplo, yo puedo decir, wait, un segundo. I am used to exercise in the morning. In that case, what is the meaning of that? ¿Qué significa eso? I am used to exercise in the morning. ¿Qué dices, Camilo? ¿Qué es eso? I am used to exercising, perdón, estoy exercising in the morning. What is that? Esto que estoy escribiendo acá, I am used to exercising in the morning, yo estoy acostumbrado a hacer ejercicio, muy bien, en la mañana, ¿cierto? O sea que ya tengo el hábito, yo ya estoy acostumbrado. ¿Ready? El get used to casi nunca se usa en presente simple, porque es como acostumbrarse. Yo acostumbrarme, no. Yo me estoy acostumbrando, puede ser, por ejemplo, I am getting used to exercising in the morning, right? Ahí no tengo todavía, yo todavía no estoy acostumbrado, estoy en el proceso. Entonces, me estoy acostumbrando a ejercitarme en la mañana, ¿sí? Get used to. It's not already the process done. El proceso todavía no está completo, ¿cierto? Está en el proceso. I am getting used to exercising in the morning, right? O, for example, I don't know. I have gotten used to exercise with my friends. But it says, let's say, recently. I have recently gotten used to exercise with my friends. O sea que recientemente me acostumbré a, o me he acostumbrado recientemente. ¿Ready? Sí, exactamente, Camilo. El getting used to es estoy acostumbrando. Es la expresión get used to, pero en presente continuo. O sea, está sucediendo en este momento. Entonces, por ejemplo, esta expresión de be used to no la puedo usar en presente continuo porque, como te digo, es que ya tengo la acción. Entonces, no es que me esté acostumbrando, para eso uso el get used to, ¿sí? Pero esa funciona en momentos como no, yo ya estoy acostumbrado, sí, sí. O yo estaba acostumbrado antes, pero ya no, ¿cierto? Entonces, es como eso, como ya el proceso terminó. Cambio con get used to es que todavía está el proceso de acostumbramiento, ¿right? Un poquito confuso, pero nah, it's fine. Más o menos un poquito mejor, kind of. Sí, listo, very good. Vale, igual no olviden que también lo pueden hacer simplemente con, así, con el uso de solo used to, que es mucho más fácil, mucho más directo, ¿cierto? Used to, solía y used to, no en pasado sino en presente, suelo o solemos o depende del sujeto, ¿cierto? En presente, right? Entonces, that's another possibility to do. ¿Mm? Bueno, guys, in complement to this part, um, this class has a part in which we describe the kind of music that we like, but we do it using a double comparative expression, which is going to describe a relationship between two characteristics or between two actions. The increase of one action causes the increase of another action. Yeah. For example, I don't know, let's say that the older I get, the older I get, the more I listen to, no sé, Pastor López. An example, right? Entonces, it's a comparison in which we describe that one action increases and causes the other action to increase too. For example, the other day, the more I listen, Pastor López, significa que entre más viejo me vuelvo, más escucho Pastor López, ¿cierto? The expressions are going to be connected with a comma, and both are going to start with the, right? Then you can use different options. The more, which is that both actions increase, ¿cierto? The more you study, the more you learn. The more I see her, the more I like her. The more we work, the more we earn. ¿Sí? Or the opposite. One increase causes the reduction of the other. For example, the more I read, the less I remember. The more he explained, the less I understand. The more I worry, the less I sleep. Como que entre más esto, menos lo otro, right? So I can have those possibilities. Or the other possibility is that I can include a comparison with an adjective, not with more, que acá usábamos verbos, ¿cierto? Como the more I study, the more I see her, the more we work, the more I learn, like, earn, ¿cierto? Lo mismo acá, sino que aquí it's a possibility to use adjectives. The older we grow, the wiser we become. Entre más viejos nos volvemos, más sabios nos volvemos, right? Or for example, the higher you climb, the colder it gets. Entre más alto escalo, más frío se pone, right? Or, for example, the younger you begin to learn a language, the easier it is. What is the meaning of that one? ¿Qué significa esa? Number three. The younger you begin to learn a language, the easier it is.
Más fácil será.
Sí, más fácil es entre qué, o sea, depende de qué. Entre más que.
Más aprendas.
Entre más joven
Ah, claro, sí.
empieces a aprender, más fácil es, right? Or, for example, let's say the brighter the sun, the happier the people feel. Brighter es como brillante. Entonces, the brighter the sun, the happier people feel. What do you think about it? What is that? Nico?
And the brighter sun.
Brighter means como brillante.
Sí, como entre más soleado, más feliz es la gente.
Exactly. Entre más brillante sea el sol, más feliz está la gente o más feliz la gente se siente, right? Entonces, in that case, I can have it in different ways. The idea is that we find a relationship between one characteristic and the other. It can be, as I said, one adjective. For example, here, the older I get, and one action. The more I listen to Pastor Lopez. So I can find actions and actions, yes, or adjective and adjective, or adjective and action, right? Entonces, for example, guys, we're going to have here another example. It says listen and like. The more techno I listen, the more I like it, in my case, right? Or for example, the more I practice, comma, the better, the better I dance.
Espérate,
No?
Pati.
Dice Jennifer, the more I learn English, the more I speak fluently. The more fluently I speak. Como que más fluido, más fluido hablo. Muy bien. That's very good. The more I study English, the more fluent I speak. Perfecto. That's one idea. ¿Mm? Or for example, this one, it's adverbs, right? Entonces, the more I study, comma, the less I play. Es una relación inversamente proporcional. Entre más juego, entre más estudio, menos juego, ¿cierto? Entonces, o for example, guys, I have loud, which is alto de volumen, and energized con D, que es energizado, como animado, right? Entonces, I don't know, no sé ustedes, pero a mí, entre más duro escucho la música, más energizado, bueno, con más energía me siento. How can you do that comparison? Entre más duro escucho música, más energético me siento, right? Anybody? So, entre más duro escucho la música, más energético me siento. How do you do that?
Con el mismo ejemplo, pues,
Dime, Jennifer, sorry, again.
wait, no.
Si quieres escribir en el chat, no problem. Entre más duro escucho la música, más energético me siento. O más energizado, pues, right? The more I learn, mentiras, con el mismo ejemplo. Sí, exactly. Pues, kind of, O sea, que tenemos loud, acá está el primero, loud, right? Y energized. Entonces tengo el de la primera oración y el de la segunda oración. Teacher voice, ¿a qué haría referencia? Voice. Ah, pero estamos haciendo el anterior, Jen, este de acá. Del, Está haciendo como entre más duro escucho, más energizado me siento energético.
The more louder I listen to music, more energetic I feel.
Muy bien, very good. Pero loud es un monosilabónico, entonces no necesitas more, simplemente
Only louder.
the louder I listen, the music, of course, the louder I listen to music, the more energized, energized I feel. Muy bien, very good, that's great, right? And in the last one, for example, no sé, entre más suave la voz, más tranquilo me siento. O al contrario, entre más alta la voz, más animado me siento, podría ser, right? The less loud movies, the less energized I have. Okay, the less loud es como entre menos duro. The less loud I see o I watch movies, coma, the less energized I am, ¿cierto? Como que entre menos duro las veo, menos energía tengo. Muy bien, that's a possibility too. Listen, guys. So in this case, these comparisons are going to help me to introduce double comparatives, which is o sea, two characteristics that they are related in certain way. It can be applied to music, as we did it in this case, right? Or as you can do it in the infographic of the week, no? Entonces, for example, the more I listen, no sé, in my case, the more I listen trap, the less I like it. I don't like it so much, the less I like it. Y entre más escucho, menos me gusta. The more I listen trap, the less I like it. O, for example, the more famous people feel, ¿qué? ¿Qué pasará entre más famosos se sienten? What do you think? The more famous people feel, ¿qué? What is the complement of that sentence?
Maybe more egocentric and feel.
Totally right, exactly. So the more famous people feel, comma, the more egotistical, right? Egotistical they get. O sea, se vuelven, ¿cierto? Get egotistical. Entonces, como volverse egocéntrico. They get. Right. Muy bien. Right. Entonces, that was the first, well, the last idea was working with those comparisons. The more, the less, the wiser, the older, the ta ta ta. See? Good. But also we talk about the habits in the past. For example, see, in the back days or back in the day, celebrities would always buy mansions se me olvidó, in Miami, for example. It was very common. Okay, back in the day, celebrities would always buy mansions in Miami. It was very typical in that moment. Or in the present, as an influencer, I will always post in the morning because it gets more visualization. So, as an influencer, I will always share the food of my day, for example. As an influencer, I will always, and then we describe the habits in the present. So, in general terms, the idea was talking about the famous life, but from different perspective. The characteristics that we can describe with them and the habits, though in the past and in the present and introducing both expressions be used to and get used to that they are not so easy to understand. I mean, they are really easy, but sometimes it can be confusing in our heads. Okay, guys, questions about the difficulties, problems, anything that you have here so far?
No, teacher, only practice, but it's clear.
Listo, guys, very good. Guys, les recomiendo, hace poquito encontré una IA, se llama como Lura, a ver si la encontramos por acá, wait. Me pareció muy buena para practicar tanto speaking como writing, porque te entiende tanto em, Lura AI. Bueno, están para app, no sé si aquí estén, mira, esta, Lura, y la verdad me pareció muy buena, muy accurate, ¿sí? Para que la descarguen y la prueben, para que hablen con ella, le escriban también y traten de introducir esas expresiones. La verdad es que tiene como un buen tono de conversación, entonces me pareció muy buena y tiene la opción pues de hablar, obviamente sin pago, ¿no? La mayoría que tienen para hablar son de pago, entonces esta tiene como un límite de tiempo que te deja hablar con ella sin tener que pagar, entonces pues me pareció buena para que la descarguen y la prueben. ¿Listo? Así ya ustedes que van tan avanzados, les va a servir mucho más esta practiquita. ¿Listo? Entonces, pruébenla y me cuentan a ver cómo les va también. ¿Vale? ¿Ready?
Okay, teacher.
Listo, good.
Thank you for the
Bueno, guys.
recommendation.
Entonces, the next week we are going to have, I think we have only one class, which is the class number 5. Todavía no está, pero estoy ya, o sea, apenas terminé la clase, en 5 minutos la habilito para que la programen si quieren, de la semana 5. ¿Listo? Creo que está para el martes, si no estoy mal. Entonces, entren y la programan y nos vemos la próxima semanita, juiciosos en clase. Ya casi vamos a acabar, nos queda un mesecito y acaba esto. Y ya, que se liberan de este pechito, ¿vale? Entonces, un último mesecito, terminemos las actividades bien juiciosos, no se me dejen colgar. Si necesitan ayuda con lo que sea, alguna actividad o alguna explicación, me avisan y ya saben que les ayudo tan pronto pueda. ¿Listo, guys? Entonces, have a good weekend, disfruten ese puente y nos vemos la próxima semana, ¿vale?
Okay, teacher, thank you so much.
Bye bye, see you later.
Thank you,
Bye
teacher.
bye.
Bye.
Bye bye, bye.